Not all good things are good all the time, and truth is one of such things. Our truth can be a big problem for others. It can be a burden, it can be a challenge, it can be a complete showstopper for others. On a few other occasions, also, I have said this, that we need to understand and weigh and measure the way we speak the truth. So let's understand this process by which our truth can become a burden for somebody else. Now, imagine this first situation: a meeting is happening. There are five ideas which are discussed, and then the meeting is about to close. Suddenly, this hand goes up, and somebody says, "Oh, I have one more idea." Now, this person had not spoken all through, had kept quiet so that the person can sort of become hero at the end by offering this invaluable recommendation, which sort of nullifies everything else. And boom, this person speaks, and the entire meeting gets derailed. The entire outcomes get derailed because the person has submitted some new information at this last minute. I'd waited all this while. Or think about that you have a meeting and there's this one person who's completely overshadowed that whole meeting. Or at home in a relationship, there is one person, one main person, one spouse, or one of the parents, or this one friend who completely takes the center stage no matter what event, what occasion, and only dumps his or her ideas, his or her desires, his or her approach on everyone else. And that's the way it needs to be. What is happening? This is called mind dumping. We don't see the time, we don't see the place, we don't see the appropriateness. We just have to put whatever is in our head out there. Sometimes it's just those 20 ideas. Sometimes it's that criticism and judgment. Sometimes it's that very manipulative negative statement. Sometimes it's our jealousy, all sorts of things. So whatever is in my head has to go. Mind dumping is what? It's here, so it has to be out there. Whatever is here has to be out there. So many people say, "Oh, I had to put it out there as is, as it was coming. I had to be very honest. I had to share what I had to share." If you had shared that a little bit more intelligently, if you had chosen what ideas, what context, if you had chosen who you are telling, or the maturity of the other person, or the utility of that, or is that even relevant at that point in time, or has the time passed for you to volunteer that information, or volunteer the information much in advance before the time passes out, then it would have been useful. However, in most cases, mind dumping is like somebody needs one small passage to speak, and you're offering an entire library to them much after they needed the speech. You understand this analogy? Right? So it's so difficult because the other person is not able to understand what are you trying to do. You think you are adding value, but you may not be. So our truths, our ideas, our facts, all that we are carrying in our mind, everything from the most valuable of valuable things to the criticisms that we have, to the critiques that we have, to the other side of the jealousy, and the other negative emotions that we have. All that truth may not be useful in this world. So you have to check, is your truth and not the truth for the other person? Is your truth your ideas, but really not even a comma for the other person's life? So if there is no utility, if you cannot ascertain that something is not worthwhile, stay quiet. It's important not to disturb your environment. It's a very important thing. And if somebody is doing mind dumping around you, you need to have a conversation with them saying that, look, they are putting things out there without the utility. Now, I will not worry as much about mind dumping because this is not a coercive problem to have. It is a problem that we can handle to a certain extent. The bigger problem that happens is when the second category and the third category of issues happen. So mind dumping is still a very intellectual sort of an exercise. But the second one is a very dangerous one. And this is where behavioral arrogance comes up. There are individuals who claim, "Oh, I am very emotional. Oh, I am a perfectionist. Oh, I am a taskmaster. Oh, I am very pushy. Oh, I am on the ball on the time. Oh, I am 24/7 on." And there are these very sharp mercurial behaviors that these people have. Some of it is about the way they speak, they talk, They will rationalize abusing, they will rationalize bad language, they will rationalize doing things at any hours, like sending emails across the clock, or calling at odd hours, or making others work, or demanding things of others even when others are down in the dumps. So whether it's personal life or it's professional life, there are these people who have these absolutely mercurial, out of the way habits, and it just disturbs everything. They may think that they are spontaneous, or on the ball, or responsible, or very responsive, or being very transparent, very clean. But it is actually an arrogance that they're displaying, because what is the message? This is who I am. I am not willing to be socially intelligent. I am not willing to be emotionally intelligent for the world at all. The world has to take me exactly the way I behave. The world has to understand that I have a cause, I have a way to work, I have a passion which I work with. And everybody has to be passionate enough. Everybody has to show ownership. So you will hear many senior people, many parents, many business owners, many senior leaders talk about this very flowery language, as if what they do is the only important thing, everything else is not good. This is arrogance. It's outright behavioral arrogance. And this is the second way that we are practicing our truth. Now, you must be very surprised when I equate truth to this. Why? Because these individuals believe that they are living their truth. Remember what I said? This is who I am. This is exactly who I am. My passion, my energy, my spontaneity, my charm, my charisma. I am out there, in the face, solving problem, on the run. Many times it's a favorite thing in their head. Or it's that, I'm absolutely being honest. I'm absolutely unfiltered. This is the way I have learned it to be. I cannot sugarcoat. All of these statements come up. So if again you are somebody who's doing this, or you know someone who's doing this, this needs to be checked. So while the first category, where you're doing mind dumping, there is some usefulness in those behaviors, and you can filter out the usefulness. Here, the first thing that you have to do is separate the cause, the work, and the behavior. The behavior has to go. These behaviors are really, really bad behaviors. Now, you may be getting work as an organizational leader, or you could be pushing your family or your spouse, or demanding things of your friends, etc. There might be a utility that you're focusing on. The utility needs to stay, and you need to find better behaviors. But finding those better behaviors can only happen once you solve things. Like you can have responsiveness with a limit of saying that these are hours where we don't work, or you can have fun along with all the other responsibilities in a family or with your children. So some of those divisions can be made. So there needs to be a lot of adult behavior that needs to creep in here, and be brought in, planned in a systematic fashion. So keep the intent, but filter out the behaviors completely and replace them with productive behaviors. That's the way the behavioral arrogance needs to be dealt with. And that then brings us to a very different kind of behavior. And here's where the truth is actually a confession. It's a guilt that somebody's carrying in their mind. Then this could be a mistake that somebody made in a relationship, or it could be some facts that they didn't share, or it could be something that they witnessed at work and they did not speak up at that point in time, or a mistake that could have happened but they did not speak up, and later on, to get brownie points, you're speaking up now. But there are various kinds of confessions, and I'm not getting into nitty-gritties of this, but you can very well imagine what this is. That anything from one person having cheated on the other person, to somebody seeing malpractices, to somebody seeing misappropriation, etc. They did not speak up at a certain point in time, but now they are so guilt-ridden with the whole thing that they're coming and completely dumping it on the other person or other people, without really seeing what occasion is it even worthy, is it the right time. Now, if you had spoken up when the things were happening, at that point in time, if you had owned up, if you had shown up, if you had made the corrections, it would have been a different thing. In most cases, most confessions, especially if this is your own confession of crime, may not matter much. It's the correction that matters. It's owning up the consequences that matter. So if you're doing confessions along with those corrections, then wonderful. If you're doing only confessions to get it off your chest, as people say, or speak up and be the good person, or speak up and not be a part of them, if it's just the speak up, then it's really not going to help. You have to be a part of the solution. So again, you have to choose where your truth is landing and how it is landing. So that's the most that I wanted to lay out in front of you. So if you are carrying certain truths inside you and you are approaching sharing that truth through mind dumping, or if you are approaching it through those aggressive behaviors, or if you are doing the confessions without solution, this needs to stop. You need to choose better behavior. So if you're mind dumping, you need to learn to filter out useful things and offer to others. So sometimes less is more. In the second case, where it is aggression, the intent has to stay. The behaviors have to completely go and get replaced with newer behaviors and carry on. And in the third case, your confessions have to be accompanied with corrections and being able to handle the consequences of whatever those things are. Only then is truth helpful. I've said this many times and I'm going to say this again. Truth is only useful if it has a utility. Truth which doesn't have any utility is just noise. So if you have a utility of the truth, then you need to also land the truth correctly and not weaponize truth against someone or use truth to come clean and to portray saintliness or whatever virtues or values that you're trying to do, or cleanse your karmas, like several people will say. No, that's not the way to do it. It is a far more complex process. Hope you take responsibility of your truth and offer it at the right time, place, to the right people, for the right reasons.